Hey everybody, welcome to Barbecue Champs Academy Live. It is so great to have everybody here with us tonight. It's going to be a great show as we've got in the house Mr. Lee Hickel.
Good evening.
Hey Lee, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Mike.
That's good. This is quite the accomplished cook, especially in IBCA in his short career. Lee has finished as the number one and the number two cooker in IBCA in the points chase. Number one in 2019, right?
Yes, sir.
And came back in 2020 and just did something I hadn't seen in the 6 years that I've been in IBCA, and that's coming right back in as the number two cooker. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. I see people are steadily coming in, and it's so great to have everybody with us. See, John Lindsay is already with us. John, look, brother, you and your mother both are in our prayers. I got a phone call from John about 9:30 this morning that his mom had taken a fall, and she's in her 80s and had broken her hip once before. They don't know if she has broken her hip again, and he's been in the hospital since about 10:30, 11 o'clock today. And I talked to him about an hour ago, and they still haven't even gotten to her. Just I think they did an MRI, and that's about it. So, John, yeah, you and your mom are in our prayers, and certainly ask everybody that's watching tonight to certainly keep John Lindsay and his mom in our thoughts and our prayers. Always hate to see something like that happen. Man, I tell you, our moms mean a lot to us. I was looking.
Sure do.
Woke up this morning, saw July the 14th, and my mom passed away 2 years ago on this date. And it hurts. You know, I mean, you love them when you've got them, and you have to just continue to keep those memories. So I know what he's going through, and it's hard. It really is. So, but people are steadily coming on, and we're going to give everybody just a few minutes to come in. Got already about 30 people already on. So Robbie Royal is in the house. He says good afternoon to us. So prayers for you, John, as well. Certainly do love Robbie Royal. I mean, he's a great supporter and contributor to our show here. So certainly glad to have him. I'm sure we're going to have other ones coming on as well. Before we get too far, I mean, we steadily got people coming in. I do want to thank all of our partners. It wouldn't be possible to do some of the things we do without great partners. And we have got a host of wonderful partners, and I just want to give them a quick shout out. Be Extreme Barbecue, Danny and Kay, Miss Kay, just awesome people. B&B Charcoal, Lone Star Barbecue Pro Shop, Brian Crawford. Man, he's got an amazing store. He's got about every rub that you could possibly imagine. I know if you have classes from Barbecue Champs and you bought classes from us, you need the one-stop shop to get everything. It's Lone Star BBQ Pro Shop. He's got about everything that we have. He also has his own pits products as well. He's got some awesome spritzes. Lumberjack Charcoal just came on board with us a couple of weeks ago. Texas Pepper Jelly. Craig man, I tell you what, Craig's stepping it up, man. He done went from sauce and rib candy to, man, he's knocking it out the park with all these rubs. And man, he sent me some of these, and I've got them over here, and I'm telling you, brisket,
they're good.
Chicken, an APS. He's got this chipotle. He's got a 3-pepper one that is phenomenally good. So, and also Gunnar Wilhelm. I tell you what, those guys got some amazing knives. They came aboard, and I'll show you a little cleaver that they done for me, and hopefully we can see that. Does that look good, Lee? Looking about
looks
right?
Good. Looks good.
That was nice that they put our logo on the front of this cleaver, on the side of this cleaver. So we certainly do appreciate Gunnar Wilhelm coming in, and Arcasippy Smoke Live. I'm telling you, John and Mr. Ronald Burns have done an amazing job with their show, and they're a huge supporter of us, and we are certainly going to give them a shout out. And anybody that's watching our videos, we'd ask you to go over to Arcasippy Smoke Live on Monday night at 7:30, as they really talk a lot about SCA. It's really kind of good. We got John talking a lot about the SCA. We're going to kind of hit up the barbecue stuff. So I certainly did want to talk a little bit about those. And but right now, we've got you, and we got people coming on. We got 40 people. Lee Hickel, Red Mule's badass barbecue team, has a phenomenal years the last 2 years. The first full year of cooking in 2019 was the number one cook in the IBCA, number two this year. Just an absolutely incredible feat. And what a lot of people don't know is in 2019, for you to win the Cooker of the Year, to be number one in points, that right there is what was amazing to me. In your first full year of competing, to go out and cook against some of the absolute best cookers that I think there are in the country.
I agree.
To be able to do that. And I know a lot of people probably was like, anybody can get lucky. Anybody can do pretty good. It takes some luck. It does. It takes some luck.
It does.
You got to have good cooking skills. You got to have some luck. But for you to come back this year in 2020 and finish number two in the points chase.
That's right.
With just 300 or 400 points behind. I don't think he was far behind Phil Breeden. And Phil, congratulations, buddy. I mean, Lucky Charms. That dude's a bad cook himself, man. And I mean, I think he went wire to wire right off the get-go. He was killing it.
He did.
Yep. It was awesome to see. But what was better was you coming up. I mean, COVID, I know, messed up a lot of cookers. I know you was like, about number 9 in the points?
Right.
They shut everything down. And you're like, man, this is not good. 2 weeks won't be bad, but let's get this thing going. And then all of a sudden they open it up, 6 weeks left. And you was like, man, I'm fixing to have a hard time with this.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Because it wasn't just some locals around cooking and a few good people. They were all chosen to go cook. It was everybody. So tell us your thought process, Lee, as you was coming down the home stretch, man.
I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm going to tell you what. I'm a one-man cook. I cook solo every weekend. But God is always first.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good religious background, you got to put your faith in God.
Yeah.
And I pray every cook-off, every night, every meal, and I just thank God for everything I've got.
Right.
So my order of precedence is God, country, family, finances, and friends.
Right.
You need to have every one of those in line, and just let your cooking speak for itself.
Right.
But I was doing a lot of praying the last 6-7 weeks when IBCA opened up. I wasn't looking real good in the points where I wanted to be, but then again, nobody else was either. Corona shut everything down. I just knew I had to get everything I had. Like you said, every IBCA cook was going to go to every cook-off that there was. Right. And every cook-off was a showdown.
Yeah.
You had to bring your A game.
Yeah.
So I think I was sitting like 9th when the IBCA opened back up again. Went to El Campo. Oh, I just got annihilated in El Campo. Every cook was there, and I felt strong about my products. It just didn't work.
Right.
I think I dropped maybe down to 11th. And then the weekend after, we cooked. It was Gatesville or Wills Point somewhere. I think it was Gatesville. Hit a reserve grand champion. Yep. Jason Sagmeyer grand championed it. And kudos to him. I hit reserve. That bumped me up to like number 7. And then the weekend after that, another cook-off. I think I came in 3rd or 4th place overall. That put me up to 5th. And then I hit 2nd place with just, I think it was 2 weekends left. And that's where I ended up staying. I was nervous. I was chewing my fingernails, praying, thinking what I can do different. But in the long run, don't go chasing ghosts. Yeah. That's Phil Breeden's favorite saying. Do your cook. Do what got you where you were. And just because you didn't do good on the one cook-off, continue strong. Do what you do every week. And just hope you fall on a good table.
Right.
Have luck on your side. And Lord blessed me with, I think I did 19 IBCA cook-offs for the 2020 year. 17 of those were top 10, and that hit me. for second place overall.
Man, I'll tell you, Lee, that's truly amazing. I know, IBCA did restructure the
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 points.
points this year. Usually, you cook 30, you cook 40, you cook as many as you want, and you're gonna gain points for all. And I really, really like what they did this year. You can cook as many as you want, but you're only gonna take your top 12, and I think that is better because it gives. I can't cook 40 cook-offs. Heck, I do good to cook 15, 16 cook-offs. But at least I got a shot. I won't be
Right.
so far down because I'm only going to get, scored on the 12 cook-offs. But I tell you what, brother, I mean, that is a major accomplishment to be able to finish that high up on 19 cook-offs. And especially when everybody came back after the coronavirus shutdown. That was you wasn't cooking against just a few good teams and some in the region. You was cooking against the very, very best.
All
And
5 regions.
yeah, all 5 regions were showing up.
Yes.
I remember when we cooked in Wichita Falls, it was like a who's who of barbecue. I mean, we had like 52 teams, and it was like Aaron
Right.
Leslie, Philip Breeden, Bill Purvis, Philip Breeden. I mean, you're trying to knock them guys off. Goodness, Chuck Long was there. There was Alan Freeman. I mean, I think almost every one of the top 10 points, I know it's 7, the top 7 were for sure there. And here
Right.
you are, you're just trying to get up. And I mean, that just to me is something that just shows just how good that you've done. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I mean, I've been cooking now in IBCA. My first full year was in 2014. And so in about the 6 years that I've been cooking, as far as I can remember, in those 6 years, I've never seen the guy that finished first place one year come back the next
Right.
year and finish first or second the next year. Not that I can recall. It wasn't like I was watching it a lot, but to be able to do that on a season as short as it was this year, congratulations. That was
Thank you.
absolutely awesome, and I'm telling you, I think a lot of people are impressed with your cooking and what you've been able to do, and you've done very, very well. So congratulations. And we wanted to get you on here as quick as we could. Last week we had John Lindsay on our inaugural show, and we wanted to get you on here because it was fresh. The season just ended, a couple weeks ago, and we wanted to give honor where honor is due. That's what the Bible teaches us. And
Yes, sir.
honor for you for doing what you did. And I'll congratulate you, man. That was absolutely amazing year. So, with that said, now we're going to dive in a little bit. So I got a few
All right.
questions for you, Mr. Lee Hickel.
Yes, sir.
I see Mr. Sterling just popped up. Hey, Sterling, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, Sterling, all the way in Arizona?
Yeah, he's up, man. Sterling's another one of our awesome cooks.
I think he was showing it's like 132 degrees.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yesterday or day before?
It's ridiculous. Out in Arizona, I mean, you don't need no skillet. Just throw the dadgum bag up on the hood of the car, and you can get after
Right.
it. So, anyway, James Mcmillan. This is one of the guys that started off as a backyard cooker, taking some of our backyard classes, and I'm telling you, didn't know a whole lot about barbecue, and now he's done taking Mark Lambert's All Access class, Craig's All Access class, and I think there's one other one. And he took Sterling's All Access class. Man, this guy's throwing down some amazing food. So, James, man, it is so great to have a backyard cooker join the ranks of all of us guys here. We got a ton of steak cookers on tonight, and we're starting to get slowly more and more of these barbecue guys coming in. So it's so great to see everybody. Got a couple questions, though. I want to dive in on this. All right, so we've seen how successful you've been. So I'm going to throw this. Let's go back to cook number 1. How did you do in your first ever IBCA cook-off?
Whoo! I think I got the dead last award on that cook-off. Keep in mind, I didn't know what I was doing. Matter of fact, I didn't even really know what IBCA was. I think I may have joined to be an IBCA member. At the Cooks meeting, they announced if you want to join IBCA, spend your $50 and you can join.
Yeah.
Well, I still didn't know what IBCA was. But I spent the $50 and I joined because I knew it had to be something good, something big, something wonderful. So I joined, cooked my brisket, chicken, and ribs. No, I didn't do anything. I didn't make final table. I didn't do anything, but I did get third place in margarita. So I was,
You was happy. At least you got something.
well, see, then I still thought barbecue was, partaking in adult beverages, listening to music, cooking three briskets, 6 racks of ribs, 4 chickens.
Right.
Because I thought it took that much meat just to turn in the 1/2 chicken, 9 ribs, 9 pieces of brisket.
Right.
I didn't know. I didn't know about trimming. I didn't know anything about injection.
Right.
I just season all, salt, pepper, garlic.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, this is barbecue data may show this back in 2016, but I didn't cook by myself in 2016.
Right.
I had people going along helping me, so we were cooking for groups of people. So we would stay up all night.
Right.
I didn't know I was doing everything wrong.
Right.
But I did everything wrong, and it gets pretty expensive when you do everything wrong.
Yeah.
And you expect to win or be successful.
Right.
So my very first IBCA cook-off, nothing.
Not good.
Spent a lot of money, went home with a hangover.
I understand. Yep, that'll happen. I do. I got somebody that kind of fixed up. Bill Manning, who is unbelievable cooking himself, a great customer of Barbecue Champs. He corrected me. Fred Robles was number 1 in 2016, and in 2017. So thank you, Bill, for letting me know.
Thank you, Bill.
You talk about a cook now. Fred Robles, oh my goodness gracious, won the American Royal last year. I think that's the first time, maybe, I may be wrong, somebody can correct me on that, I think that's the first time somebody from Texas had ever won it. I think. I'm not sure, but it don't matter. Fred Robles, I mean, you could give that guy a 55-gallon garbage can, a bucket of charcoal, and a couple sticks of wood, and that guy is just absolutely amazing. So, yeah. And that was probably my second. I guess that was my second full year there, and I probably really didn't know a whole lot about the points and watching all that stuff. So I'm glad somebody at least knew that. But I tell you what, you two have been in a league of y'all's own. You look at the 16, 17, and then 18. I don't remember who did 18. 19, you come along. So
18 was Matias Serrata.
Matias, that's right.
Pit Boss Smokers.
Yep, that's right. I do remember that now. So. I mean, I tell you what, it's an elite group of guys, and it's just amazing to see what you guys do. So, so you didn't do incredibly well your first competition.
No, sir.
Dead last, but you had fun, and
I had fun.
That's all that counts. So, what made you want to come back for more?
Well, I'm retired Coast Guard 22 years.
Yeah.
And I was an overachiever in the Coast Guard. And it's hard to take failure.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. So what do I need to do to be better? I got to quit doing the partying.
Right.
Focus on the event, which is barbecue.
Right.
When you're spending $400, $500, $600 to go party, I don't have to go to a cook-off for that. I can do that somewhere else. I'm going to work,
right.
and I want to win. So I changed my thought process completely to where when I go to a cook-off, I'm going to be in bed 11:15, wake up at 4:45, and I'm going to get a good night's sleep. I'm not going to drink. I'm just going to focus on why I'm there.
Right.
So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I buckled down. I got my life straight, and I focused solely on barbecue. Yeah, Friday we socialize, we talk, we laugh with all of our fellow cookers. But when it's time to go back to your respected rigs, your camps, it's time to work.
Right.
And I switch my hats to where it's game time, and I focus 100% on winning.
Right.
So that was my thought process. I can accept defeat, but it's hard knowing that I had a lot of improvements that I needed to do to be better. And
Right.
so I focus on that.
So talking about improvements, what was it that you did to improve your cooking, to get better, to become where you are now? What was some of the things that you did?
Let me focus on a few things here. One of them is we can practice, practice, and practice and practice every day. But when you're home, we're practicing for our wives, our husbands, our children, our neighbors. And look, no matter what we practice and we feed our neighborhood and our families, it's still good barbecue. So what you have to do is practice, perfect practice every time. So we can practice the same thing every day wrong, and when you go to a competition, you're going to have the same wrong results.
Right.
So you have to practice perfect practice. So in order for me to achieve a perfect practice, I needed help. This is a whole new world of competition barbecue compared to backyard barbecue. I only knew a little bit of backyard barbecue, enough to where I thought I knew how to compete. So I did reach out and I did take classes through other IBCA professionals. And with their skill set, their techniques, their styles, I incorporated recipes, techniques, ingredients, my wood, my cooking process, my equipment, and I tailored from what I learned. And I came up with my own cooking process, integrated different rubs through perfect practice. And I believe I have a pretty even flavor profile that I can go out of state and cook in all 5 regions and be consistent.
Yeah.
I don't need to change my barbecue. My barbecue could improve, of course, but I'm pretty consistent on placing top 10 at the majority of my cook-offs.
Right.
So, but I practice perfect practice, perfect techniques. I know how many pieces of wood, how much charcoal. I know my time management, my fire. My meats are always trimmed down the same weight. Everything is routine. It's just second nature.
Right.
When you do the exact same perfect techniques week after week after week, just don't become complacent. I still read my notes because if you miss one thing, the entire process is wrong.
Right.
So even though I'd cook the same recipes, same ingredients, I still read my notes.
Right.
Because
one mess up.
We're human. We're human. We can miss something.
Right. That's exactly right.
Perfect practice.
Perfect practice.
To be consistent.
Yep. And then the help of taking classes from other people as well. So, all right. So I've been corrected on who was the first. Corey Mikes popped his dad up that he had won the American Royal back in 1997. He had said that earlier, and that was here. And I forgot all about Danny. Danny Mikes is an amazing cook, and then he thinks this may have been the first team. And I think somebody else had said that Johnny Trigg may had won. Let's see who this was. Danny Helm. Corey think Johnny Trigg may have been one of the first ones. So we got more than one Texas cooker. I don't know where I had heard that. I thought that was just something when Fred Robles won it last year. So I do want to get that. Like I said, I don't know enough about the KCBS stuff to know, but
hey, for a Texas guy to win the American Royal, that deep South Texas is a big accomplishment because people hear the Rio Grande Valley area.
Right.
That's almost Mexico.
Right.
So it's a great kudos, good job to Fred Robles.
Yeah.
To me, Fred is my big mentor.
Yeah.
You know, I love him to death, He guided me in the right direction, got my head straight. So I give a lot of my accomplishments to Fred Robles.
Right.
You know, Fred Robles, Matias Serrata, Roel, and Hector Villanueva from the Killer V's.
Right.
Those guys, I have a story behind these particular men.
Right.
Who really set me straight, got my focus where it needed to be, and I have pretty much everything I have that I'm successful for to those groups of men.
Right.
Those guys really, really, really mentored me and got me where I needed to be.
Yeah, I tell you what, I mean, they're good guys. All of them are. And, you know, that's the thing. I mean, but, you know, what I took out of what you just got through saying, you listened to what they said. You know, they guided you. You went to some classes, and, you know, it got you on track to being a better cook. And then you took and put the spin on it yourself to make it Lee Hickel barbecue, that no matter where you went, because I have seen you cook in all regions. I saw you come up to Shreveport, Louisiana, and first time I met you, you was parked next to me. You was parked next to me last year, and I like, who you, man? You know, who are you coming up? I'm Lee Hickel. Okay, who's Lee Hickel? I was like, well, I'm currently the points leader in IBCA, and like, hey, what you come down here picking on us for? You know, and you come up there, and you just first time in, you know, out of state region in Louisiana, you come up here and you spank us, and you get grand champion. I was like, man, alive, you know. And then you did good over in the Dallas Fort Worth area prior to that, and then you've been down as far south as South Louisiana. I know you cooked down there at Bunkie, and I think you had a rib call or something.
Rib call.
Yeah.
Right.
And
tied for first rib.
Tied for first, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, good barbecue when it's right. And that's the one thing I love about IBCA barbecue. It's just good backyard barbecue, but it's done right. You know, that's the thing. And it just stands out and is something that's absolutely amazing. So with all that being said, do you think it's helpful for people today if they want to really compete and do well and get some consistent top 10 calls? You know, do you think it's important for people today to take classes?
100%. If I didn't take classes and I didn't reach out and I needed help, you know, I wanted to be successful. It could financially break you if you spend $400 or $500 a weekend.
Yeah.
And you go home with nothing week after week, and you're doing 4 of these a month. You know, you're at $2,000 out of your budget.
Right.
That is hard to just come up with. That's real money.
Right.
So, Mike, anywhere. I mean, if the class is $1,500, the class is $699, $599, $159, whatever you're going to run your meat category in SCA, IBCA, BCA, KCBS, whatever it is, it's 100% worth the cost to see what the guys who are consistently winning week after week after week, what they're doing.
Right.
This is an investment, right? How much money do you need to spend and not come home with anything until you realize, you know, spending $699, $599, $1,500, whatever the class cost, how many times do you have to spend your money before you realize maybe I should skip a cook-off, pay for a class, and chances are within the next cook-off or the cook-off after that, you'll win the majority of your money back that you spent on that class.
Yeah.
To me, it only makes sense. Spend the money, see what we're doing, not just me, everybody on Barbecue Champs Academy. Pick your guy you want to take or girl you want to take the class from, and learn from it.
Right.
Learn from it. Hey, if one class is good and you've done well by taking the one class, you want a little bit of money, maybe take another class.
Yeah.
You know, knowledge, continuing your education.
It is.
And that's the way I look at it. If I can take a class one a year, I'm continuing my education because products come out. I mean, look at the shelf behind you.
Yeah.
Those products weren't out 3 years ago.
That's true.
You know, those are all
brand new. Craig Sherry's
pretty much brand new, you know.
Brian Crawford's brand new stuff that he's got out. I mean, yeah, Danny Helms just got some new stuff that they're bringing out. You're right. It's constantly evolving, and you got to stay ahead. And, you know, it's funny when you say that. I mean, there's some guys that's in here. I mean, let's talk about Bill Manning. I mean, Bill is a huge supporter of Barbecue Champs, and certainly do appreciate him and his business. And I think he's taken a bunch of classes, and he makes no bones about it. He posts how he does. He's taken. I mean, I think the first time he took Joey's class, and went out. Boom, first time out after taking his class, first place chicken. And Bill, he just posted, knowledge is so important. Here's what he just posted. And Bill, I think you told me that was the first time that you ever got a first place chicken, if I recall. And it was a first place chicken, and he took Joey Smith's class, goes out and got a first place chicken. And I think that was his first time ever he had a first place chicken. There's so many stories that we have, testimonials that we have of people that have jumped in and taken these classes. That it is amazing to see what they're doing. One of the guys that first took our class was Larry Dwayne Anderson. He's over here in East Texas. We've used Larry so many different times, and he bought Corey Mike's class, 3 days after we launched Barbecue Champs Academy. And we went to Russ, Texas, Little State Championship Cook-Off. Philip Breeden was there. I was there. Craig Sherry was there. And he had not had a whole lot of top 10 calls. I don't know if he'd ever had maybe one or two, and he'd been cooking a year and a half. He watched every YouTube video out there, and he took the class, and he only got a chance to cook the ribs and the chicken because he didn't have time to buy the stuff to cook a brisket. And he had an 8th place chicken and had I think it was a 2nd or 4th place rib, and I think it was a 2nd place rib. And he said he made $600 and he spent $5.99 for the class. And I was
he made $1.
Excited. Yeah, he said, I'm up $1. I got all this knowledge. And I was like, man, I was so happy. Oh my goodness. I did Barbecue Champs to help people, for the people that struggle and the people that can't go to classes. I mean, it's expensive. It's, $1,500, $2,000 to travel, to take off, to go to a class and stuff like that. And, it's so nice to be able to help people. I wanted to see this sport grow. I wanted to see the state cookers grow. I wanted to see the barbecue stuff grow. And we know that comes by knowledge and learning from people, and people like yourself and, Craig Sherry and Joey Smith and Corey Mikes and all that's most of our IBCA cookers, not to mention Robbie and Mark Lambert and Sterling Smith. And I mean, you start getting all those guys in there, it's a lot of knowledge. And, to me, it was such a testimonial to how good the classes worked when I saw Larry do that. And I was jumping for joy. I wanted to scream like, this is great. But I didn't want to say anything because you'll remain anonymous if you want to. And after the awards, I said, hey, man, congratulations, man. I'm so glad. He said, man, you ain't got to be quiet. All these guys know. I done told everybody. And I was like, oh, my gosh, I was so excited, to see that he had done so well. He goes to his next competition, has a 5th place brisket. I think he had a 9th place rib. Goes to his next competition, had a first place, a 2nd place in one of the rare times when they cook pork butt. I think he had a 4th place in something else. A 1st, a 2nd, and a 4th. His 3rd time doing it, and he got his first grand champion. And cooks another competition and walks in all 3. And here earlier, right before COVID, he got his 2nd grand champion. And it's just like unbelievable, to see that. And we're getting so many people that feeds back. But I think you're right. You can go in, you can take a class, and it can really help you. And, I look at like all the pit masters that we have and all the things that they do and what they show. And, there's this guy on here, a guy named Lee Hickel. He's pretty good cooking himself. David Bosca, I didn't even mention David. We brought him on here about 3 weeks ago. I mean, you talk about a guy that's got some accomplishment. But, you have done tremendously well in your 2 years of cooking at what you've done. And I know you told me, I want you to tell the story about the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, somebody that had taken your class. And
so I was asked to help or be a cook for one of the teams this year at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. But there were some other teams that reached out to me who were cooking that needed some of not my ingredients, but some ingredients that I had, and they knew I was going to go cook at the rodeo. So I took some ingredients to these other two cooks. They were cooking for like the Go Texans, and they had taken my online class. So I took them some ingredients, which I'm able to get. They were having a hard time getting it last minute. Well, my thought process was, Mike, these guys are cooking the exact same recipe as I am, so I'm going to go ahead and just tweak my recipes, because I know what they're cooking. I mean, I don't know who else was there who was cooking my recipes, but I know for a fact these two teams were. So I manipulated my recipes.
Went against what you're supposed to be doing, Lee Hickel. How did that work out?
that is not what you're supposed to do. So there I was, still on the ground, and these guys are top 10 finalists in the rib category. I never got up on stage, and that's primarily what I tweaked the most was my ribs. Right. And these guys are top 10 finalists.
There you go.
In the rib, they're up on stage. And you talking about a kick in the stomach. That right then, I mean, cook your barbecue.
Yeah.
Don't be intimidated. People, keep in mind, I mean, since my class has come out, I'm having to stay ahead of my students by practicing and modifying, adjusting, because I don't solely want to always cook against my own recipe.
Right.
So I mean, I am having to make a little bit of adjustments to stay ahead of the curve.
Right.
But on that Houston Livestock Show on rodeo, I went backwards. I did the wrong thing. Yeah. I should have just cooked it, and hopefully I fell on a good table. But hey, those guys know how to cook.
Right.
Right. I mean, they're good cooks.
Yeah.
And but I'm so proud of them. Yeah. That's what I want. That's what Barbecue Champs wants. We want the guys and girls to take the class, to improve your cooking experience, and to go out and win. Yeah. Enjoy not just getting a certificate, enjoy getting money, enjoy getting hardware. Go home to your family and say, hey, I have a true trophy. I've worked my butt off. I've tweaked Lee Hickel's recipes or Corey's recipes, whatever.
Oh,
don't just cook recipes. Maybe learn techniques, skill sets, incorporate your own. Yep. But look, I am so proud of everybody that has taken my class, and they have walked and they have done well, and their cooking experience is 10 times better. Yeah. That's why I was blessed that you offered to invite me on the Barbecue Champs Academy to showcase my skill set. And so I'm grateful for Mike Steele and Barbecue Champs Academy. But you are 100% on to something that is amazing and self-gratifying for us as the online coaches, the teachers, right. To we're even though we're kind of reluctant to spill our beans,
I get it out of it. He's going to leave it on the table.
You get it out, and you do. And I mean, we have to hesitate. Maybe you edited some of that stuff out. Some of that's like I'm having to take a deep breath and like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
Yep, I'm here. Yeah. So thank you, Barbecue Champs Academy, for offering this to the world. Thank you for inviting myself and the other online class teachers.
Right.
This is something new and exciting to the barbecue world, and I'm blessed and honored to be a part of it. And I'm so honored and blessed that the students that have taken my tell-all online class, and to see the results, to get the private text messages, the instant messaging saying, hey, I got reserve grand champion. Hey, I got a first place rib. Hey, I beat Phil Breeden. That was the big thing, man. I've never beat Phil Breeden. Hey, I got third place overall. He got fourth place overall. Just people's little personal goals, and to see them achieve it. Yeah. I mean, it puts tears in your eyes because you have done something that is groundbreaking, earth-shattering, and we as Barbecue Champs Academy members, alumni, are honored and proud to be part of this.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Robbie just posted, nothing better and no one any happier than me when one of my students walks or wins their first grand champion. You know,
Right.
I see that a lot. Um, you know, and Danny Helm just posted, you know, the best gift in the world is seeing someone do great with your product or techniques you taught them. It's just giving back, you know, and I think that right there is what it's all about. Um, I can't think of how many people have won grand champions. I mean, you know, you look at Larry, Dwayne Anderson. I mean, he's already got two grand champions. Um, he never had a grand champion before that. You know, I mean, multiple top 10 finishes. I can't even count all the people that have had top 10 finishes, grand champions. There was a guy that took Corey Mike's uh, KCBS. Corey Mike does KCBS, and you know there was a guy that's a very well-known cook. I'm not going to say his name because he didn't want to be told, and he cooked and beat Corey. You know,
Hmm.
and using a lot of his techniques. Some of it was probably his own as well. But it's just what you learn. You know, you guys do lay it out. It's one of the things that we did when we was filming everything. We don't want nothing that's old. We don't want nothing that's outdated. We want what you do. You know, because the success of Barbecue Champs is only going to be the success of what you give as recipes. And everybody that's taken these recipes have done incredibly well. Multiple top 10, not only on the barbecue side, but on the steak cooker side as well. And David Bosca. I mean, American Royal runner-up last year, and won the Jack Daniel. I mean, that's pretty big accomplishments. And he came in here, and I tell you right now, he literally had to go in, and he had a rub that he had been using for the last year and a half developing. Um, and he said, I'm bringing this stuff out for the class. I mean, this is the most current stuff that I'm using,
Hmm.
and I'm bringing it out for the class. And he had another product called I don't remember what he named it. I forgot in the class, but he had another product what he was using, and he brought it out as well. So he's got two brand new products he brought out because he brought his class out. And he said, I want them to have exactly what I use at the American Royal when I run it up in the Jack Daniel last year when we won that deal. So to me,
Hmm.
that's what's great. The state guys, I mean, how do you argue with the success that John Lindsay and Terry Roan and all those guys have had, and Alan Newton and Shauna Rapolo and Ty Machado? I think he had first place at the World in the first round of preliminary last year at the
Right.
World Food Champion. And, I mean, to me, that is huge to be able to see. And then you look at the success. I think John told me that in the last three competitions that he has cooked at, uh, 15 people that have taken his class have been in the top 10 over the last three events.
That's awesome.
Man, you talk about
Awesome.
make you feel proud, and he is happy. He is thoroughly happy that these people are doing so good. That is what it's going to take to grow the sport. And, this was done to help grow the sport. People that can't go to a class, that don't have the time to go to a class, and don't have the money to go to a class, you can go in, you can take out one of them, take one of these classes, whether it's the steak or the barbecue or whatever, and you can definitely um, increase your knowledge. And, is it going to get you a grand champion? Well, if you
It
practice it,
might.
you get on the right table. I'm going to say,
Hmm.
yeah. Is it going to be every time? No. Is it a guaranteed grand champion? Well, I can tell you this. Yeah, there's a lot of people that we know that have had several grand champions. I know one guy that's got two. I know another guy that's got one. I know another guy that's got one. I know right now of about a dozen that have had grand champions that have taken these classes. So to me, um, that's a success. It's not just necessarily the grand champ. It's the consistency to walk. Like you said, it feels good to be able to consistently walk in top tens and get a nice trophy and get some money to go along with it to pay for your weekend. Look at Larry, his first competition he ever went to, paid $5.99 for the class, got two walks, made $600. He's up a buck. He's got the class for free, and he's got all the knowledge.
Right.
I think so far since he took that class a year ago, he's made over $4,000 in prize money. That's not a bad little payday. And I think he's cooked like seven or
Pretty
eight
good.
cook-offs, 2 grand champions, over $4,000. That's not a bad payday, and better than what he had been doing. So,
Right.
so I don't know. I think to me that is it's important, and we wanted to give back. We wanted incredible cooks to be on, and people like yourself and all the other hosted guys. We got so many good ones. I mean, Mark Lambert, a 6-time world champion, and Sterling Smith, David Bosca, Craig, Sherry. I mean, just some amazing cooks that do very, very well and show you how to go about using those products. So, so it's good to hear how you got to where you was. You didn't do it alone. You had some help, and that's kind of the stuff that I want to get out of you guys. What was it that made you successful? Did you figure it out on your own? Did you have help? A little combination of all of it. So so what was the defining moment that you realized that you was going to do pretty well in IBCA competition? What was it that all of a sudden it went, oh, man, I think I'm going to do pretty good here. I mean, I've turned the corner. Something had to have happened. Did it all of a sudden just?
So Hurricane Harvey came August 25th, 2017. So I lost my house. I lost my business. So it took me 10 months to get my life back together again. So from August 25th, 2017 to the end of June 2018, I never cooked one time, never fired up my barbecue pit. There was a Lone Star event that came to Corpus Christi, 107.3, my country radio station, was hosting a barbecue competition at Schlitterbahn in Corpus. I went and I cooked it. 41 teams, I grand championed it. Me not even knowing what the American Royal was. Now you got to keep in mind, this is June, the last weekend in June 2018, and I had no idea what the American Royal was. But I grand championed it, made me eligible to compete in September at the American Royal. But because I grand championed that Lone Star, the very next weekend started IBCA 2019 cooking year. So July 1 starts the new year. I did go to a cook-off up in Three Rivers, Texas. 30 teams, maybe, about 30 teams came. I reserve grand championed it. I'm like, wait a minute. I had a grand champion last week. I have a reserve grand champion in IBCA this week. Let me continue. So weekend after, third, fourth place. Weekend after, like a grand champion. So I'm like, wait a minute. So I became a life member of IBCA, and that started the 2019 cooking season. And I did about 45 cook-offs in 2019 cooking season. And I was doing very well, Mike. I think I had 9 grand champions, 8 reserve grand champions, 4 top 3. So 21 of my 45 cook-offs, I was first, second, or third.
That's amazing.
Third place. So that's almost half. Now those 45 cook-offs, keep in mind, that was also KCBS.
Right.
That wasn't all IBCA.
Right.
So about half of my cook-offs, I was first, second, and third place.
Right.
So I knew, with the Lord on my side, God, country, family, finances, and friends, they were all lined up just right for me. Right. And I became very successful. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, in 2019, I grossed $77,000 on 45 cook-offs.
Wow, that's amazing.
I spent $32,000 on expenses. That's with meat, fuel, travel, entry fee. I was $1099, $1,100. So I netted over $43,000 on 45 cook-offs in 2019. Something was definitely working for Lee Hickel for 2019.
Right.
That's a lot of loot to win from my first, from absolutely nothing. I didn't cook at all for 10 months.
Right. First
to get my my house rebuilt, get my building rebuilt, my business rebuilt, get my life back together again. I had to make it a job. right? So that's when all the alcohol had to stop, all the partying, going to bed early, waking up, focusing 100%, because I made this my job
Right.
to where I could pay my bills. I still had employees that I
Right.
never let go, still had a bank note, had to pay, had everything still going as if Hurricane Harvey never happened, but
Right.
it did. So
Right.
it financially set me back. So I made this a full-time job, and you don't drink on the job. You're
Yeah.
going to work, and got focused, prayed right, did my tithing correctly. Everything was done right with me, my family, and the IBCA world. And I just went and I became very successful in my first full year of IBCA cooking.
Right.
So I had a mission to win. I needed to be number one. There was no other option for me.
Right. That's good.
So I focused at 100%. So the life changing event for me was Hurricane Harvey hurt me financially, but in the end, it was a blessing because the brick wall came tumbling down. It was a roadblock, but I managed to get around it, and I focused for IBCA. I kept everything morally straight, mentally focused,
Yep.
and that was my life changing event in my life to get me to where I am today.
No, that's an amazing story. It really is. So, wow. I mean, and sometimes like that, it's just when all the chips fall together right. And it sounds like that's what happened for you. Um, what is what's the one pro tip that you can share with people today? If you had one pro tip to share with somebody today that's cooking in IBCA, what would that one pro tip be to help them? Of course, you just got through throwing
Um,
a huge one out right there, staying focused on it. So,
so I'm going to tell you a 2-minute story. Matias Serrata, pit boss smokers from Beeville, Texas, one of my best friends in IBCA, another mentor. He guided me. He kept me in the straight line. I was still a rookie. Still, I was the number one points leader, still cooking for 2019. Still a rookie. I hadn't met all the pro cookers yet. I didn't know everybody. We went to a cook-off in Yorktown, Texas at Grinnell Dance Hall. You have to remember, I was still intimidated by Ernest Cervantes, Danny Patton, Clarence Joseph, Fred Robles, Ira Green from Seguin, Flying G
yeah,
Barbecue, Arnie Segovia, very intimidated I was by all these people. I knew their names, but I didn't think they knew who I was. And Matias Serrata did the best thing he could ever do to me. He invited me Friday night to the group of the grand champions, right? Just kind of hang around the campfire. He said, Lee, don't talk, just listen. They're going to tell stories. They're going to tell techniques. They're just going to loose lips, and don't write anything down, but just take mental notes and capitalize on what they're going to say. And so, Matias, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I did exactly as I was instructed. I sat there,
and listen.
but lo and behold, those guys knew who I was. And I didn't think they even knew who Lee Hickel was.
Wow.
So, as a rookie, a greenhorn, a newbie in IBCA, don't be afraid to ask questions, but know your boundaries.
Right.
Don't be afraid to introduce yourself. I'm very shy.
Right.
So he just said, luckily, he invited me to listen. So take mental notes, capitalize on what you learn from the other pros, and tenderness trumps taste every time.
There you go.
Nobody ever says that is the toughest, best tasting brisket I've ever had. They're going to tell you, man, that was the most tenderest brisket I've ever eaten.
There's the pro
They don't
tip.
ever really combine. They don't really combine tender and taste in the same compliment. It's usually going to be, that was the most tenderest brisket I've ever had.
Wow.
Keep it down the road, hit all four corners of the box, make it good barbecue, but tender.
Yeah.
So tender trumps taste.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time. It's I tell people all the time that they ask me, like I said, they get the cheapest plastic fork and knife that they can buy. That's it. That's the
Hmm.
best thing. Just so remember that when they're cutting a rib, when they're cutting brisket, when they're cutting chicken, remember it's the cheapest plastic fork and knife that they can possibly give you. So you got to make
Right.
it tender. It's got to be
And you got
good.
to remember, I thought YouTube was the educational tool for
Yeah.
IBCA barbecue. I didn't understand that I was completely wrong.
Yeah.
Everything on YouTube, just throw it away, except for the Barbecue Champs Academy YouTube page. That's gospel. That one's gospel. But the things you learn is mostly for a different barbecue society. It's
Right.
not for IBCA.
Right.
So I'd learned everything I could off of YouTube completely wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong direction, wrong everything.
Yeah.
So, again, thank you for Barbecue Champs Academy for doing this first ever tell all class. Um, Look, folks, I've even bought classes from the fellow cookers that are on here as well because I need to continue my education. I just can't not learn about barbecue. I want to be the best. I want to have knowledge, and I want to make it right. I want to
Right.
keep up
Yeah.
with what's out there. Salt, pepper, garlic aren't going to win it.
Yeah. Not no
I
more.
didn't even know what. Look, 2.5 years ago, I never knew what injection was. I
Right.
didn't know you're supposed to inject. I didn't know
Yeah.
you're supposed to trim a big brisket to a little brisket. I
Right.
didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
I thought you had to cook a lot of briskets, and then from those lots of briskets, you pick 9 slices.
Yeah.
I thought it was a 17, 18-hour cook.
Yeah.
I couldn't fathom you can do it in 6 hours.
Right.
Had no idea. But
Right.
look where I've come just by taking some classes.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah, the classes definitely help, and it's good to hear, somebody like you that was coming up in the ranks of what you did to get successful, and that's kind of what we're going to try to bring every week. We're going to bring in another pit master, another state grill master to hear where was their journey. John's journey was a little bit different than what your journey was. There wasn't a whole lot of state classes when John started, 2 or 3 years ago, and same thing with I think Terry Rome. First class Terry ever gave was here, his all access class, and I mean to me that just tells how we can take this sport and grow it. These guys are just as happy as they can be. We want to grow the sport. That was the whole purpose of Barbecue Champs Academy, was to help the person that's struggling, that wants to get better. Well, we've given you the necessary tool sets. I mean, you guys have got your hands full. I mean, you got people that's done taken every barbecue class that we have. I've got several people that's done that. So they're not just taking your class, they've got everybody's information, and then they're just taking it and tweaking it and making it their own. And some of those have been some of the most successful cooks that we've had that are consistently winning. So, um,
Right. Can I do a
anyway,
couple shout outs before the
yeah,
hour is up?
absolutely.
So I don't have any sponsors. I don't have any products, but I do have. Well, actually, I do have a sponsor. But I'm gonna give a shout out to Andy Lugo
Oh,
with
yeah.
Meat Hustler. I want to give Andy Lugo all the kudos. He handles all my meat. If it weren't for Meat Hustler, Andy Lugo out of San Antonio, I know for a fact I wouldn't be where I am today. If you start off with a good cut of meat, it's less work you have to do in the long run.
Yeah.
So, Andy, I love you like a brother. Thank you so much. He does my chicken, my ribs, and my brisket. He vets every piece of my meat. Every 2 weeks, I go up to his place. I get my meat, my competition meat. I don't have to worry about anything. I know it's
Ready
the
to
right
go.
weight, ready to go. Meat Hustler to me, I would not be where I am today.
Yeah.
South Texas Barbecue Emporium, Reba Beard. She runs a great shop. Love her to death. Thank you so much, South Texas Barbecue Emporium. That's where I get the majority of all my barbecue competition rub season injections. Thank you so much. Phil Breed and Lucky Charms.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
only did you come to me at the showdown in Kingsville, that's when I really first met you. After that, meeting Phil Breeden and all of his products, his Style Play, Boss Hog, Playbull, folks, that's definitely a game-changing injection that you have to have for your competition. I mean, if you're not using anything Lucky Charms,
Yeah.
you need to be.
You
You need to be. That's for sure. And last but not least,
Cosmo, welcome aboard.
Cosmo. I'm one of the 40 teams, I guess, worldwide that's been selected to be part of his pro staff. So, Cosmo and everybody, I want to thank you so much for the care package. You guys didn't have to pick me. There's thousands of teams that submitted their online resume application. I'm honored to be part of Team Cosmo Pro staff. And again, thank you very much. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. It's
yeah,
it's something that I never thought was going to happen. Never even dreamt about it.
right.
But when you get your mindset right, focus, pay attention, the doors open up that I never thought would open. So
Right.
I've been blessed just in my 2 years of cooking, and I hope more doors will open up for me.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, and I also want to give big kudos to Barbecue Champs Academy, to my CEO, founder of Barbecue Champs, Mike Steele. Thank you again so much
well,
for doing
thank you.
everything you do, all of your hard work, making this come true for myself and everybody else.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Lee. It means a lot coming from you, and I tell you what, I'm just blessed to be around and to have the friendship with so many of not only all the barbecue guys that we went through, but the state cookers, Alan Newton and Shauna Rapolo and John Lindsay, Terry Roan, Tom Machado. I mean, everybody just means so much to me, and this journey that we've been on for the last year, and we've got two more world champion state cookers coming. We've got some big names still. We still got another big name barbecue guy that we've got already on the books to come this fall. We're just trying to continue to build this and to make it bigger and better where everybody can have whatever type of knowledge that they need. And once again, I can't do it without the partners that we have listed on the screen. Once again, Be Extreme, B&B Charcoal, Lone Star Barbecue Pro Shop. Brian, thank you for everything that you do, man. And Lumberjack Charcoal, Texas Pepper Jelly, Craig, amazing product. I don't think there's hardly a competition team one that is not using your product in some way. Gunnar Wilhelm, amazing, nice. Brother, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to put it to use. I love my logo. Awesome job there. And my good friend John Lindsay at Arcasippy Smoke Live and him, let's remember his mom. If you wasn't at the beginning of the show, John's mom took a fall earlier today. And about 9:30, he gave me a call and said that they got her at the hospital. So let's certainly keep John's mom in our thoughts and our prayers. Let's keep John in our prayers and his mom, and let's remember them as well. Lee, I tell you what, man, it's been an honor to have you here tonight. Certainly wanted to give you a kudos and a shout out for what you have done and great accomplishments. Hadn't had a lot of questions come by for anybody that had any questions for you, but we'll probably have you on here. We're going to try to rotate about every 4 months. We got so many people; it'll take us 3 or 4 months to get through everybody.
Right.
So, and we'll just keep asking. We'll talk barbecue. Right now we're all missing the competitions. They've done locked us down again from this COVID mess, and I'll be glad when we can get out and cook again. And one good thing about it, I see our barbecue family is all here, and we try to give as many of them a shout out on our board as much as we could. And, we hope that more people will join us live next time. Maybe there'll be more questions asked. If there's something I didn't ask you'd like to know, yeah, that's what we're here
I think
for.
I think I may have to go over to SCA if SCA doesn't
Yeah,
shut down.
I'm telling you
Us
right now.
IBCA boys may go SCA and give y'all
I,
a run for the money.
I'm telling you. I know. I
I'm,
know. I know where some classes are that could probably help us get
hmm
get on the fast track there. So
right. I've already been
anyway,
challenged by Shauna.
I know I shot it through
So
it down on you. You got
she
to watch out
did.
for
She
that girl,
did.
man. Oh goodness. Well, Lee, we appreciate you being on here. We appreciate all of our followers, all of our customers from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for the support that you have given us and for everything. You mean the world to us. We will continue to try to bring the biggest and greatest names in barbecue to Barbecue Champs Academy. Our whole goal was to get this to grow, to help the sport grow, not only just in the barbecue, but in the state Cookers Association as well. Wonderful organization over there. IBCA, love it. We're so appreciative of everybody. And we thank you. Tell your family, tell your friends about us. We'll be back next Tuesday at 7 o'clock for our next show. We'll let it be released later in the week of who we're going to have on next. But I hope you've enjoyed it. Let us know if you have. I think it's going to be a great time, especially with all this COVID mess going on, and we're able to be here with our family and our barbecue family, and to me that means everything. And I cannot wait to get back out and see all my family, my barbecue family again. And we hope everybody's enjoyed the show. We will see everybody again next week. Lee, once again,
Yes, sir.
thank you so much for being on. Congratulations once again on another amazing season. And
Thank you.
looking forward to see what you're going to be able to do again for this 2020 season. Hope everybody's enjoyed it. We'll see everybody on the show again next week. Have a lot of fun and smoke on.